Hello, Faith family. Yes, it's another update regarding COVID-19 and regathering. This week, the Administrative Board made the decision to suspend all in-person meetings, including worship. We felt that the situation was bad enough in Ottawa County to warrant immediate action, so we have suspended in-person meeting. But we feel that the decision is big enough that it needs to be addressed by the full council, so this decision will be revisited on Tuesday by the full council in their online meeting. What prompted the ad board was a letter that I sent them, and that letter will be available on our website. But I'd like to explain a bit of it to you more personally through this video. As I said last week, I've been very, very proud of the way that we have proceeded during this pandemic. We've done it carefully, very thoughtfully, I think using common sense. We've taken these steps forward. And I have personally felt comfortable with it every step of the way until this past Sunday. In the midst of leading worship on Sunday, I had the profound feeling that we were doing the wrong thing, and that I personally was doing the wrong thing in regard to vulnerable people that were gathered there in the sanctuary, and the vulnerability that I have at home with a daughter who has immune suppression and lung disease. So I have to deal with my own conscience in this, and that's what I did by expressing my concerns to the Administrative Board. Part of that concern had to do with the exponential rise of cases right here in our area. Okay? When I got home from church, the concerns escalated because I got more reports of people who were quarantining, and then I got a report of someone who had been at the meeting of our youth group on Wednesday and tested positive on Thursday, which means that all of those who attended that meeting, I'm going through it in my mind and seeing them involved in the worship service and in educational stuff and thinking how potentially we spread the virus. Now, thank goodness for Jeremy and for the youth group practicing social distancing and wearing masks during that meeting. This could have been a lot worse. So far, I don't know of any cases of it spreading because of that, but it could have been. So let me address where we are in this community right now. This morning I listened to a press conference, and this was the major healthcare providers of Michigan coming together to address the state of Michigan. So it was the Henry Ford Hospital Association, Beaumont, Spectrum, Munson, the Michigan Health and Hospital Association, the UP Hospital Association. Here's what they said. Like I said, this was from this morning. We are in a phase of exponential increases of cases and hospitalizations with a slowdown nowhere in sight. We are experiencing a 40% growth per week, and cases are doubling then every 2.5 weeks. We have gone from 1,100 cases a day to 6,000 cases a day in about a month. Hospitalizations have increased 5-fold over the last 6 weeks. And you have to understand, hospitals lag, right? So they're 2 weeks behind the caseload. We are heading to a place that will be very painful to our state unless we all take personal responsibility. Okay? Looking at I'm sorry, I have to deal with misinformation on this, and I don't care where the misinformation comes from. It has to be dealt with. And neither do I care how militant it is. You can take that out on me, that's all right. But I'm going to speak back to it. First of all, we are not turning a corner right now. We have just experienced the worst day in the United States for COVID. We are right now in the place where I'm standing experiencing the worst situation by far, okay? That is the reality. Secondly, we are not uncovering this because there is more testing. That is false. Spectrum has run basically the same amount of tests for the last few months, and we have gone from about a 5% positivity rate to about a 14% positivity rate with the same amount of tests. What does that tell us? That tells us that the virus is here and we are transmitting it to each other right now. And as I said, that is verified in my experience talking to all of you. There's at least a dozen families that are in quarantine, either because they have it or because someone in the family has it. There are many more who are quarantining because of school exposure right now. So here's a little more from that press conference. Right now, we are in the midst of a health care crisis, squarely in the middle of it, in literally every region of the state. The good news is we know what it takes to control the outbreak. Remember when this began, we talked about flattening the curve? Well, the fact of the matter is we didn't actually have a curve out here, but now we do. But now we know what it takes to flatten that curve. We have to wear the masks. We have to wash our hands. We have to maintain social distancing. And we have to limit social gatherings. That's especially where the church comes in. So the presidents and CEOs of these healthcare organizations were asked, do we need the government to step in again? Here's the sense of their response. A blanket shutdown is a blunt object, right? But it remains to be seen if just asking people to do the right thing is enough. Friends, I do not think it should be controversial for the church to do the right thing. Here's the thing. The virus does not spread on its own. It spreads through us. So we have to take personal responsibility and in that way care for one another. If you're like me, you're intensely tired of this situation, okay? But if I'm tired, and yeah, I'm going through some pretty drastic isolation because of it, because of my situation, but if we're tired, can you imagine the healthcare workers who have been dealing with this since March? Another thing all these healthcare professionals agreed upon is that we are in a better place to deal with the curve than we were back in the spring. But here's the thing, it's not going to be hospital space that limits our ability to care for people. Are you ready? It's going to be healthcare professionals. We are wearing them out and getting them sick. So here's two things I hear. One is that I don't want to wear this because it's my freedom not to. I'm just telling you that use of the word freedom is not a Christian use of the word freedom. We are explicitly taught in Scripture that our freedom is given us not so that we can indulge ourselves, but so that we can serve others. The second is this whole thing you've heard me talk about before, this faith over fear. Listen, the measures we're taking right now are not because we're afraid. This is an aggressive way to keep the virus in check and to win this battle. I don't want to lose this battle. My friends, I would love to worship with you. And I really, really, really want to do it at Christmas, okay? So let's take the steps we need to now to flatten that curve and to allow us to move forward. There's good hope on the horizon, okay? There's also excellent news out there about vaccine trials. The treatments are getting better. Our healthcare workers know more. But we need to give it time. We need to give it space. We need to care for each other. We need to find creative ways to do that in these challenging times. We got to trust God. Thanks for listening. If you have concerns, if you have questions, if you have a rebuttal, feel free to talk to me, talk to your elder, your deacon, the council. We will be discussing this again on Tuesday. Friends, God bless you.